Can you hear me okay? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. You can hear everybody? That's what I needed right there. That's what I needed. I am currently over at the Lake Spivey 5K and 15K event. So I'm inside. So it's going to be a little loud around here. And you'll probably see folks walking by. So forgive me. We're going to try to get into it, though. Is that all right? I've got my speaker up as loud as I can here. We're going to start. I'm just going to kind of go over some of the main pieces that people want to really hear about here. We have had, we did have a homicide in Clayton County this week that got a lot of media, or last weekend that got a lot of media attention about the female victim that was found on I-675. Reports have it that she was murdered outside of the county and her body was dumped here. But we are in that, we have finally identified her and notified the next of kin. So that's where we are with that one. As far as our crime stats, PD has an event going on, so we don't have any representative from them today. But I'm going to read what they've sent me. There's been a 2.2 decrease in crime for the month of September 5th through October 2nd. So that's good. But our homicides are up by the number of 3. So we want to really begin to get with our families and any kind of mental health disparities and begin to address these so that we can get our crime rate down. The PD is having an open house today from 10 to 1 for their food drive, and that's on Highway 42 in Rex at the Rec Center. So or at the PD Center there by the Sono Single and Gregory Senior Center. So if you can get by, take a box of food, that would be great. What else do we have here? We want to recognize that this month is breast cancer. So we want to basically get our folks to go out and get screened for this. We don't want to lose one person is to lose one too many. So we want to begin to really look at that. But this coming Friday is Pink Out. Hopefully, Chief Master Judge, I'm telling the correct thing. It's I think that's what it is. So we want everybody across the county to wear pink to really begin to address this issue. I'm going through it. It's crazy when you're not at your own desk. Let me see here. What else we have? Some of the big key pieces we've got, and I know, Ms. Taylor, you're going to ask some questions on it for the Noah's Ark and the McDonough Road developments. They do want to have another community meeting. I believe that is this coming Thursday, 7 p.m. by Zoom. Some of you all should have already gotten an email about that to begin to come in. They did not have all the drawings and they want to present to the community the drawings. So I wanted to allow them the opportunity to do that for you all. Again, today our 5K, 15K for Lake Spivey community went off very, very well. We had roughly 35 runners for the 15K and about 130 for the 5K. So they're doing well. You all have got to get out here and enjoy the Lake Spivey community. I'm over here by the Cafe Lounge and they're selling smoothies, but they're really, really good. So you all want to come out and check those out. I don't think anybody's on from Parks and Recs. I know Troy Hodges, he's not on. His daughter is getting married today. So he's probably mad somewhere. And Troy Stubbs is out here working the event. So as you can see, we're a little bit busy today. Not that we're totally discombobulated. So we're going to do that. But I tell you what, we're going to get straight to it because we do have some interesting information from Judge Wright Hill about money. And they've been doing a fantastic job of assisting folks in Clayton County. So Judge Wright, you want to come on, discuss that a little bit? Tell us what you're doing.
Yes, good morning, everyone. I just want to give an update as far as where we are with our eviction prevention project. As I stated in earlier meetings, we were awarded $4 million federal funds to assist tenants and property owners and managers as far as back rent. As of this past Wednesday, October the 6th, out of the $4 million that we have received, we have dispersed $1,727,558.56. We have that allowed us to dismiss 229 eviction cases, and the total impact, the household total. So that's everyone in the house including children, that we have impacted with these monies is 602 residents of Clayton County. So we have been very aggressive in trying to disperse these funds. We're working very quickly with our nonprofit African Children's Fund to get the funds in the landlord and property owner's hands. We do disbursements every Monday and Wednesday at the courthouse, and we average between 70 and 130,000 per week. As of September 27th, we started to go out to the actual properties because there were some tenants that were having issues as far as transportation and having technology to upload the financial documents that they needed to present. So my staff went out to the properties, and that's helped us to get a lot of monies dispersed as well. So just a reminder, and I'll put it in the chat, that the website is relief.claytoncountyga.gov, that tenants as well as landlords can apply for assistance. Again, our turnaround is pretty quick. If the application is completed this week, we're getting the checks into the landlord and the property owner's hands at least by the next week. So we're working very quickly trying to disperse these monies. We understand that tenants are in need, but we also understand that the property owners and landlords have been without monies as well. So we're trying to work as diligently and as quickly as possible to get the money in those hands. If you know of anybody who needs assistance with the rent, and now my program assists those where there are actual pending evictions in the magistrate court. However, the website that I'll put in the chat, there's a universal application. So it's for rental assistance. So everyone applies and puts an application in, and then once it's put into the database, it's determined whether or not there's a pending eviction. If there's a pending eviction, magistrate court handles the disbursement of funds. If they're behind in rent, but there hasn't been an actual eviction filed, the money can still be dispersed as far as that rental assistance, but it's just paid out through Hearts to Nourish. And I want to say, I believe that they were awarded maybe $9 million. So we have quite a bit of money that we're trying to get into the hands of property owners and landlords and to assist the tenants. If you know of anyone in Clayton County, please apply to a landlord or tenant. That's all I have, Commissioner, but I will put the website into the chat.
Great. Does anybody have any questions? I do have one, Judge. That is, I know the moratorium for evictions has ceased. Is that correct?
That's correct.
If they have filed, is any of that paperwork still relevant going forward, even though it has ceased, or no?
That the CDC declaration basically put anytime we had a CDC declaration, it caused us to stop where we were in the eviction process. So we would not be able to proceed with the eviction proceeding. Since that moratorium has ended, those declarations are meaningless at this point because we are able to proceed. And we have been hearing eviction cases. It's just the types of cases that we were able to hear as far as the non-payment. Those are the ones that were protected under the moratorium. Now the moratorium is lifted. But again, if there are issues as relates to non-payment of rent, we're trying to disperse those monies.
Thank you. Thank you. This mute unmute is going to kill me today.
You're
Also,
welcome.
there's another update we wanted to say I wanted to give you all is that Senator Warnock and Ossoff have introduced a bill this past week to begin to try to assist Clayton County with a recollection of the jet fuel tax. So we're hoping that they get enough buy-in to where this passes so that we can begin to recoup a lot of these funds that we lost back in 2014. So let's all press them and really send them letters of thanks for that. That bill came out, I believe it was last Thursday. So we're hoping that gets some traction in the House and in the Senate to where we can begin to collect that. So that's be great for Clayton County. Where else are we? As far as redefining land use maps, we are continuing to do that with community development to begin to understand where we want to go as a community. We know we have to grow. We know we have to move forward, but the question is, we want to do that smartly. We want to do that with respect to all our citizens in Clayton County. So we're going to move forward with that. Is there anybody on from code enforcement? Anybody on from code enforcement? I know they're all out in Rex. They had a lot of events going on. And anybody from the libraries, I know you all definitely have something to say. Nobody? Okay.
Well, I have questions. This is Drew Andrews.
Go ahead, Drew.
My first question is to the judge regarding the evictions. I want to know how many people have been assisted so far.
Yes, and I saw your message you just put in the chat. I can't speak to Hearts to Nourish numbers because we work independently. We meet, but I haven't heard from Hearts to Nourish recently, so I can't speak to how many people they've assisted. I only have the numbers for the magistrate court.
I apologize. I signed on late, so I didn't hear how many people the magistrate court helped.
So
well.
we've dismissed 229 eviction cases, assisting a total of 602 people, and we've dispersed over $1.7 million since July 14th.
229, 1.7 million. All right, thank you.
I'll put the exact number in the chat.
Great. And Commissioner Davis, to your question about the libraries, I do have a question. I just read an article that the library that I used to go to before, it closed. I thought it was
one
closed.
second. I just wanted to say we've got these folks that have worked for the county. That's why we're short today. They've been out running. So we just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Drew. I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for your service. Yes, regarding the closing of the library in Jonesboro, the city of Jonesboro, near Lee Park, I just read an article that it will be permanently closed. I thought it was just closed for maintenance. Is that true, that it's going to be permanently closed?
Right now, it might be permanently closed. We're going to build a new government center, and we might use that land, or we probably are going to use that land to create a new government center. That is not saying that we are going to be absent of a library. We're discussing that right now, trying to figure out the plans. These plans are not solidified. They're just in discussion phases of trying to figure out where we want to go and how we want to do it. So anything you're hearing about Jonesboro not having a library, that has not been decided by anyone as of yet.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm an advocate for the library. It was a safe place for me growing up, and I think we do need a library with our literacy rate. We're a Title I school district, and our graduation rate is right around 76%. So anything that we can, do to help our students with their literacy rate, I'm an advocate for.
Great, and I understand that, but let's correct one thing. Our graduation rate, especially in this area, is much higher than that. It's at about 82 or 83%. So we are up. We have a school with 100% graduation rate in Jonesboro area as well. So we're doing some good things, but we do want to make sure that we have a library that is going to service the needs of the people here in the county. I believe what we do have to do is we have to look and begin to understand what does the new library look like? Because you got to remember, we have a 99.3% internet coverage rate here in Clayton County. So we have a lot of folks that are using the internet and broadband in their own residence to begin to do a lot of studying as well. Does that say we don't need a library? That's not what I'm saying. But we've got to begin to understand really what's going to be the primary focus of a library, as is when I was a child, was to go do all my research, look at books, check out books. That's changed a little bit of today, but we still do want to begin to say, look, what's the new library going to look like, and how do we begin to keep the library and grow with the times?
Okay, just 2 points, and I don't want to monopolize at the time, but for my own edification, because I want to make sure I get correct information out there. When I said 76%, I was quoting the CREST study that the Clayton State University put out, and they presented to the Board of Commissioners a few months ago. You said it's in the 80s now?
I want to say, I want to say it's 81 or 82.
Okay.
But we can go back
where
and look at that. I got mine from the Board of Education.
Oh, okay. I got mine from Quest. So, and matter of fact, Dr. Beasley was a part of that committee. So I will go back and I'll make sure that my number's correct, because I don't like to put out incorrect information. And
you know what, the state is at 82, but if we look at the high schools just in District 4, we're above the state average.
But I was looking at the overall school system. Schools. But when you talked about the internet, broadband, that is a problem in itself. I work from home and I have problems with the broadband, you know, buffering, sometimes not even able to connect to internet. So I would like to see you know, our broadband, you know, we focus on that, because it is critical to our infrastructure.
Understand?
So,
Yeah, and one thing I can say about that, and I do work in that industry, and what I find out a lot of times with buffering and a lot of the issues that folks have in their residential, and it's crazy, Drew, but we've got to begin to replace some of our cables and wiring. Sometimes it's just as simple as that. When we started looking at it, we have a lot of low grade wiring that was put into just your cabling that was plugged into your devices. And sometimes to just go upgrade those cablings, we'll begin to assist you. Now, I know I saw Mr. Hutchinson on here, and I know I've got to receive an email from you pertaining to the libraries. Are we buffering now? Hello? Do we get? Which one? Or are they on mute? Mr. Hutchinson? Okay. Okay, well, let's just move on then, and when he comes on, we'll accept this.
Commissioner Davis, this is
Yes.
Judy Taylor. I believe Mary and Nancy may be having an issue with getting
Okay.
on here to speak about what they'd like to, because we have been talking back and forth about their need for the library in Jonesboro. Those of us who have lived here a long time, that library always meant a lot to us. And I think it means a lot to a community to have a library that they can actually walk to and participate in. And our libraries are really great because they offer other things besides just checking out books. They offer some really wonderful programs that maybe we could not get somewhere else. So I will speak to the fact that we would love to keep that a library there. If it can't be the library, we need a library there too. But I have several other things that I wanted to talk about the fact that we're going to build there's a meeting on October the 19th with the commissioners to where possibly there could be a decision made about the townhouses on Noah's Ark Road and Thornton Road. And it's very important that people let you know how they feel about that and attend the meetings and everything too. And no, I have sent a list to you of about some questions about some things that came up after the community meeting that took place. And I would love to have the answer to those questions prior to the Zoom meeting that the developer and the lawyer plan to have on the 14th. And that would be great to have the answer to those questions before that and everything. But I would encourage everybody to speak ahead of time and let you know how they feel, because this is very important there, and it is very much of a concern to so many people, and they should be concerned if they live in the Noah's Ark, Jodico Road, Walt Stevens Road area. The other thing I wanted to mention, congrats. This is a positive thing. Congratulations to the Troys and all the people at Parks and Rec, because they have been given a national accreditation and everything else too, that only 10 Parks and Recs got in the entire state of Georgia. So we should be very proud and recognize them for all the hard work they do at Parks and Rec and everything else too. And also, even though we don't have the police on here, and I will talk to them about that, we still have lots of issues with street racing, with the people doing donuts in the neighborhood, and particularly up on Terra Boulevard in the Mount Zion area, particularly after they had that car show at the mall, and everything is so loud you can hear it everywhere all around. So I am trying to address that, and I just wondered if other people were having issues with all these fast cars and these illegally modified noises that are on these cars to where it's really disturbing to everyone in neighborhoods. And I just would like to know if other people are having a problem with that issue. And I have lots of other things, but I will let other people talk now. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. And we are getting some of the answers to your questions that we received by email, especially ones concerning the railroad. They can, as you know, they can't go ahead and do the painting. They let that go with that. We have our transportation development is looking into the turning lane issues. So regardless of whether this project is approved or not, we still want to address the infrastructure and some infrastructure improvements in that area, as well as some of the other areas as well. Anyone else? Look, I know there's questions here. I see a lot of questions on the library here in the chat room. Looking for another question. You all don't be shy. Come on now. Unless I'm being buffered right now, nobody can hear me. Anything else on the library? One of the things I did want to discuss with folks is go ahead.
Okay, you could talk.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Yes.
Okay. One of my questions kind of evolved from a comment that was made earlier from one of the constituents, and it was involving the internet. So I'll just get right to it. What is being done about ensuring open competition with internet providers? And the reason I say that because you have one company who I won't mention who has pretty much monopoly on the area, and they kind of dictate the terms of usage for the clients. As we all know, especially with the advent of COVID, the internet is a really critical part of the community. So what's being done to open up competition to more than one provider, thus helping to lower costs and increase availability? And I'll be quiet after this.
That's actually a great question. And I actually brought that up with that. Right now, we do have broadband, and this was very much the same issue that happened in what is that, late 80s, early 90s on the deregulation of the bell companies. We do have to begin to open up competition. It would be good for our residents, but it comes down to who's controlling the lines and who's controlling a lot of the junction boxes here in the county. But that is something that we actually just spoke to the chairman about the last week and a half ago about that, and we got to begin to discuss that. So right now, I can't give you much of a good answer about we've done a lot on it because we've not. But we've got to begin to address it, and you're correct.
Well, I work in the technology area, and I know the technology has advanced to the point where you don't have to depend on ground lines. You actually can get into wireless broadband 5G technology. And it seems to me that companies that can provide that type of service, thus increasing the coverage throughout the area, for whatever reason, they're being blocked out. And I usually say, if something's not happening for the benefit of everyone, follow the money trail. So how would you address that?
Well, we have to remember, and this is kind of going maybe a little bit too tech sometime, but we've got a lot of this 4G, 5G talk coming around. And you've been in the tech industry, know a lot of that is a myth and a fallacy, especially when you start getting to 5G and you have to have a repeater every 150 feet. So we've got to begin to do something to address how do we begin to make the basic coverage available to our county at a affordable rate? That's one of the main things we have to do first. But that's a huge discussion. You know, do we bring in fiber? How will we use certain type of networking? What type of networking platforms do we want to put in place to make sure that a lot of these communities are getting a good response rate from a download and upload speed, quality of service? So there's a lot of issues that we could begin to address, but I don't think right now this is the place to get in that discussion. If you do want to give me a call offline, we can definitely talk about it, because I think we have to put together a strong technology plan to begin to move forward, not only for our residents, but to attract good, solid businesses that are going to be looking for upgraded speeds to come in and do some of their work, such as animation companies, anything dealing with digital movies, things of that nature.
Exactly.
I think that's a healthy conversation to have, though.
Okay. Now, who
Okay.
would I talk to get involved in this effort?
Give me a call.
Give you a call?
Me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I will do that. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the question, and we needed that. Okay. I see we have State Representative Rhonda Bruneau on the line. Come on, Representative.
morning,
Tell us what's
everybody.
going on. I know you've been ridiculously busy.
And with the conversation about broadband, one of the things you might want to do is form a study committee for the county. And that way you can begin to address some of the issues and to come up with a plan. The other thing is that, you know, that's also a part of President Biden's Build Back Better plan, is to create that infrastructure for technology. And so sometimes that's what some of that money is from. And then also the governor, to make sure that we are, as a state, are providing the services on broadband. What has happened is a lot of the focus for broadband is on the in the rural parts of Georgia, and that's where they're putting their emphasis. But at the end of the day, it is about money and who wants to spend money, and then also who wants to let somebody put something on their pole. And so that's a lot to do with why sometimes you don't have the same service in every area. And so that's just one of the things I would suggest, that the county do a study committee just for Clayton County. And then that way we could have information about what's going on in our county to share on the state level. And then the other thing was, I got on late, and I wanted to make sure that you had mentioned about the federal legislation for the airport for the tax. Did you talk about that already?
A little bit, but you go ahead and expound on it. But before
Okay,
you go there, I will
well,
let you know.
we have been working on this since for about 2 years. And the one thing I wanted to make sure that you're aware of, this is the first time Congressman Scott had put in legislation with one of the Congress people from California. But this is our first time that our whole federal delegation has supported us. So we have a bill in Congress, and we have a bill in the Senate. So both of our Congress people and both of our senators have signed on to help us to secure those funds. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that, you know, this was a part of a lot of work. And we are, even though, you know, we have 2 years with that legislation to get it to pass. So if you see Congressman Scott or Congresswoman Williams or our senators, you know, just thank them for supporting Clayton County. And you can always just send them an email, but to let them know that we appreciate the fact that they are working there actually on our behalf, because the legislation would benefit Clayton County. Thank you. And we will go back to special session on November the 3rd, and that's when we'll be working on redistricting.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for that update. And just to let you know, we are in discussion right now, putting together a technology committee to begin to address a lot of these issues in Clayton County. And I've spoken to the new Dean of Technology over at Clayton State. So hopefully we'll be moving forward at a pretty rapid pace to begin to get some things done. So I think we're positioned good to get them done, but now we just want to make sure we understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. So that's great. Also too, about the town hall meeting for Genesis, There's a link in the chat box for you all to register for that. That's on the 14th. So Denise Harad has put that in the chat room. So hopefully you all will copy that link and begin to register for that Zoom meeting on the 14th as well.
Commissioner Davis.
Yes,
This
ma'am.
is This is Judy Taylor again. I noticed a question about the meeting with the commissioners that concern these townhomes, which is on Tuesday, October the 19th, down at 112 Smith Street in Jonesboro. And I just wanted to make sure, because there's always some discrepancy about what time these meetings are supposed to start. On the police information, it says they start at 6 and they run 6 to 8. We know that they run till you finish your meeting, and everything else, there's probably no stop time. But people need, if they want to attend that meeting and let it be known how they feel about this project, they need to get there early. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they usually are planned just to start around 6:30, and they have to sign in, particularly to speak about the zoning issue, if they're concerned about the zoning issue, because I think other people can speak on other issues and there's a separate sign-up sheet. I just want to clarify that they need to let you know how they feel about this issue, and plan, if possible, to attend the meeting on October the 19th to let their feelings be known about, and get as much information as they can, and maybe pick a spokesperson to speak, because everybody will not have time, I'm sure, to say what they want to speak about this, because we did have rather a large attendance at our community meeting. So there is a lot of concern about this issue. So I just want everybody to be clarified about what is going on about this, that the meeting that the law firm is having is separate from the meeting where the decision will be made on October the 19th.
Correct. The meeting on the 19th is for decision. The meeting on the 14th is for informational purposes. And you are correct. There are two separate sign-in sheets. One is for just normal public comment, and the other is for zoning issues that are brought up at that meeting time. So please get there. Like we say, we want to hear what you have to say, and to begin to understand your concerns. We are going to grow. We're going to figure out how we're going to grow smartly, but we do want to hear what you have to say pertaining to not just this matter, but any matter. So thank you, Ms. Taylor.
You're welcome. I appreciate you getting the information out, because zoning issues are complicated to understand the process and everything too. And if you only have to deal with it one time in your life, you certainly don't know the process and everything else to it. So so the more we can get information out there to people so they will participate, the better. Thank you.
Another question? Anybody else here?
I just wanted to make a comment on this earlier this week. We put out a book. We found out last year that Clayton County has the most elected African-American women elected in the country. And so we did a book in which we wrote letters to the young ladies in Clayton County about our various positions. And it starts from, of course, our Congresswoman all the way down to our soil and conservationist supervisor. And so there are 41 elected African-American women in Clayton County. So we were proud of our efforts for our book. And we hope that the book will eventually be in all of our schools and in our libraries. So I just wanted to announce that.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, we do have our representative from Parks and Recs. Come on, Troy. So Troy Stubbs is here, and he can give you, as he's working, a quick update.
Yeah, we just finished up our Lakes Bobby Road Race here at Clayton County International Park. And next weekend, we do have our Fall Festival scheduled. And it'll be, Fall Festival will be at Flat Shoals Park. And everything else has been going pretty good. We still are on track with all of our splosh projects with the International Park, Water Park, the Nassau building and the VIP complex. All those are going on, still on schedule. And really the only thing we have coming up is the Fall Festival here next weekend at Flat Shoals Park.
Any questions for Troy before he runs out the door working?
This is Judy Taylor. I know you missed it, but I offered my congratulations on receiving the national accreditation that only 10 other parks and recs in the state received. And I wanted you all the Troys to be, I was thankful to all the Troys and all the people that work there at Parks and Rec for all the great work. We're really proud of our Parks and Rec. Congrats.
Well, thank you. We're proud of them too. And it's not just us, it's all of our staff that work hard for that accreditation. So it's a long process, and we were proud to accept it last week when we were in Nashville. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else got a question or for Troy? Parks and Rec? That means everything's going well.
Good deal.
Thanks.
See y'all.
Thank you all. Thanks. They're running around they're doing a lot of work. They work on the weekends like crazy up here. So, and they do a great job. So we have to just stop and just tell them thank you for all they do. Next, did we see anybody else that has come on? Anybody from the Board of Education on? We don't? Okay. All right, any other questions that are going on? I know I wanted to discuss, we're having a lot of talks. I've gotten a lot of emails over the last couple of weeks pertaining to trash. Not just universal trash pickup, but just littering. And that's my biggest thing. We've got to begin to really go at that. And that's what we have to do. And I think it's kind of a social issue rather than a political issue in my estimation, because we got a lot of folks throwing trash out the windows. I see more Taco Bell and food bags on the streets than I see of large trash bags on the street. So we are going to aggressively go at this. We've just got to figure out some new ways. I would love to bring back Keep Clayton Beautiful and let them have to address this issue. But we're gonna have to have support to do that. So any of you all that have any ideas on how to begin to clean this up, from even volunteers, I've got a group, we're supposed to go out either next weekend or the weekend after next and begin to do a trash cleanup. And we're just choosing a street to do that. So, you know, I don't think anybody of us are above picking up a piece of paper, a piece of trash, and helping to keep our community clean. So is there any ideas on what we could begin to do?
Have we asked different groups to adopt roads or areas?
Well, and that's one of the things we had talked about putting in place, and then how we can begin to do it. We have a lot of sororities, fraternities, fraternal organizations that are out here. So we want to begin to get these things going. And so I'd spoken to Mr. Murphy, and he is gung-ho on putting together just a group and getting some young folks to just say, look, we're going to choose a street and clean it up. You know, nothing more complex than that.
Well, one thing I know that will help is that, you know, if you can figure out how to get into the schools and talk to the children about the importance of keeping their neighborhoods clean, because then they will be the ones that are riding around with their parents when they're throwing trash out, and remind them that, oh, you're not keeping our community clean. You know, sometimes, you know, we have to go back and put it back on, you know, just talk to them about them and re-educate them. We haven't been in our schools, of course, because of COVID. But we just need to, you know, if there's a pamphlet or something that you have, and, you know, we just talk about the importance of keeping our community beautiful, because it's their community also. Right. And I think that if you know, did something like that, that would also help with the bigger picture.
I got you. And I don't know if he's on the line or not, but I got to give kudos, because I see this guy out in the neighborhood picking up trash. That's John Claude over here in Lake Spivey area. He will just walk and pick up trash, put in trash, and have a trash bag with him. And it's like, that's what he's doing for the next few minutes. And I'm like, wow. And, you know, we've got to begin to do that. We've got to begin to, like you said, we've got to begin to educate, but we've got to begin to do as well. And stop doing this, or stop throwing, you know, even if it's something as a small straw piece of paper, you know, rolling it up in your fingers and throwing it on the ground. I think we've got to begin to not just teach our kids, but we've got to give our kids a good role model in keeping our community clean. So if anybody
I was in Japan a couple years ago, and they don't have any trash cans on their street. I was in Tokyo, and do you know, I didn't see one piece of paper on the ground. So I don't know what they have done, but in their culture, there was no paper and there were no trash cans.
Right. Yeah, yeah. And I was there. And what I do remember seeing is they have a lot of signage about keeping it clean. And they have a lot of those signage in the parks, and they have a lot of those signages around their schools. So they're annotated with that message of cleanliness. So we've got to begin to do the same.
Yeah.
Could we also get some of the greenery that's really close to the sides of the roads, maybe cut back as well? Because I know we're constantly cleaning trash out of Lake Jotico from people going across the bridge and just throwing trash into all of that greenery that has built up next to the bridge. And if that was cut down, one, it would look beautiful, and two, I would be out there in my kayak every day picking up trash.
Well, there's a lot of areas, and I drove through the Riverdale area heavily last week. Where was I? The Roundtree area, and just really looking at the different issues going on throughout there. And I don't know what it's been, but the last 3 weeks, there seemed to me to be been an exorbitant amount of litter on our roadways. I don't know what it is. Was it just me or what? But I have a list that I'm sending out to the warden on Monday morning to put together cleanup areas. And I do that usually on Monday mornings. I'll send them that list when I drive through. So if anybody has any lists, I know someone, was it Mr. Hutchinson? I'm not sure, sent me an email about trash on the Highway 138 spur. So I've got that on the list as well. But anytime you all see some trash out there that, is really a lot, we want to begin to do that. But yes, the other part of it is too, and I brought this up, we've got to begin to cut back a lot of our roadways where we have a lot of debris and brush out there. We've got to figure out how we can consistently keep these cut back so that folks, they got to have a good arm to throw the trash up in there after that. So we got to do this, but I think we've got to work collectively together. Even if you all say, look, do we all want to go? I mean, even the folks on this call, do we all want to go out for an hour one day on, I'm just going to say on Terra Boulevard and say, we're all going to get together and we'll have a community meeting while picking up trash that day. I'm for it. So if you want to do it, let me know.
Commissioner Davis, this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
Judy Taylor again. The issue we have is we have an area that along a wood line in our neighborhood that, and everything too, and people are constantly going down there, and you're talking about, they dump big amounts of trash down in that area. And what we're doing and what I would recommend would be, and I hope the police will follow through on this, they have told us that if they go through the trash and they can find names on magazines or pieces of mail, things like that, that they can actively look into issuing violations, because we have signs all down there that say what the fine would be for illegal dumping that the county has put up. And that's happening all over. When you see a large amount of trash like that, if you make sure someone goes through that and they find out who that belongs to, and if the police will follow through and actually issue these violations and will publicly announce to let everybody know that they are doing this, and if you dump it out, what the fine possibly could be, if they find your information and everything else, that would also help with the issue, I do believe.
Right. And that's a good comment. Code enforcement does do that on a lot of commercial. When they find commercial bags sitting out, they will begin to go through that to look for mail and find out where it came from. So that we do that. So thank you for that comment. Anyone else have any issues?
Yes, this is Drew again.
Yes,
My concern is about street lights. I live off Terra Boulevard, and when the sun go down, it look like there's a power outage around here.
Okay.
And just want to know, for the safety of the citizens, any plans to get the street lights on, at least in high traffic areas?
Exactly. Now, are you talking about in your subdivision or on the road?
On the roads along
Okay.
Terra Boulevard, it's difficult to drive around when all you have available is headlights and the lights from the business.
Okay. I've not been privy to that information, but Drew, if you could just send me an email and you either call me, you have my number, call me and tell me which area it is, we can begin to look at it.
Gotcha.
Okay. But thank you for bringing that to my attention though. And I'd like to add too, we all have to remember, most of what I can get done and what we get done is based off of what you bringing to my attention to begin to move forward with it. So like Drew just did, I need to be made aware of a lot of these issues so that we can begin to move forward with it.
Hi, this is Regina Garrett. I'm a Foxfire resident. I'm not sure if even this is the forum for my question, but this area, and I believe the neighboring subdivisions, is unincorporated. What is the future on incorporating these areas, or is that something that's going to be covered in another discussion somewhere else? I'm just curious. I've been here since 2015 and we've been unincorporated ever since. And I had a concern about some trees growing and I really couldn't find any support. So I found myself kind of looking around for support because we're unincorporated.
Okay, unincorporated means you're within Clayton County. If you are incorporated, you're within the city limits. You are not in the city limits. Foxfire is in Jonesboro. So you are not in the city of Jonesboro. That's when annexation begins to take place, usually by the cities, is when you are incorporated into a city and have to pay partially city taxes and county taxes as well. Now, you saying you're having some tree issues where at Foxfire?
Yeah, so I think you pretty much answered my question though. So the support is limited, but I think that what I'm really interested in now that you mentioned that, because this is a learning experience for me. So the annexation part of that, what is the future of annexation for these unincorporated areas? Is there any?
We're not, no, there is none. We are not trying to annex any of our county land into city limits.
So how do we then get access to some of the county services if?
You have access to all the services, but which services in particular are you speaking about?
So the neighbors have a tree that's just growing out of control and I don't, so I guess we have we have a volunteer HOA.
Okay.
And my concern is that the trees are overgrowing, like it's a real problem.
So
And
now
it's not my trees, but their trees encroaching on my property and droppings, and it's grown out of control at this point.
we can call code enforcement to find out if they are in violation of an ordinance.
Yeah, I reached out to code enforcement. Maybe I should follow back up with them. And that's where the concern came with who do I go to get help with this?
If you want to send an email, code enforcement number, let me look at my card here so I got it. And I'll give you code enforcement. I have to put my glasses on here. For code enforcement, that number is 678-610-4755.
Yeah, so I did contact code enforcement and I didn't get the support that I was expecting.
Right now,
So
if that tree is on private property now, that is not the responsibility of the county. And if you were in the city, it would not be the responsibility of the city.
Well, then there you have it. That's the dilemma.
Yeah. So there's still some standards that they have to fall up under. But yeah, if you're talking about a private property tree, that's a kind of a little bit different issue. But we can still look in and make sure that that's the case.
Yeah, but there's the problem right there. So I'm in a Foxfire subdivision that has a optional, I guess, if you will, HOA, and this tree is on private property, encroaching on my property, lifting the driveway. I mean, it's just out of control. So, and there's no.
Understand. Well, I say reach out to code enforcement, find out what they can do, and please just let me know.
We'll do that. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
My email address is demont.davis@claytoncountyga.gov. DEMONT.davis, DAVIS @claytoncountyga.gov.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. Anyone else? No other questions here today? Okay. Well, then I just want to give you a couple of updates on some upcoming events we do have. We do have a WorkSource Atlanta Regional is hosting an employment event on Wednesday, October 13th at 10 a.m. And we can begin to send out, I don't have the flyer here with me, send out some more information on that. We'll be posting. We're having a Clayton County Homebuyer Seminar on Saturday, the 23rd, here at the Lake Spivey Recreational Center from 11 to 1. So those folks that are interested in buying a home, refinancing a home, or just have some issue, have a lot of questions, we'll have a few folks here, realtors and attorneys, to begin to answer some questions for you. So that'll be from 11 to 1, Saturday, October 23rd. And then on Saturday, October 30th, we're having a Halloween celebration for the young folks. We want everybody to bring their kids. We're going to start at 6, passing out candy and other treats. And then we're going to look at Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory starting about 7:30. So we're going to have a good time here at Lake Spivey Rec Center. We want everyone to bring a lawn chair and or a blanket to put out and sit, but we're going to have a real good time here. We're going to have a lot of folks here just passing out things, and we want to just have a good, safe time here. We're also having our next Get Fit Business Expo here at the Lake Spivey Rec Center, Saturday, December 2nd from 10 to 2. And that's going to be at the Lake Spivey Rec Center. So we'd love for everyone to come on out and to enjoy themselves with the different vendors and begin to just see what new businesses we do have coming into the county. And if any of you all have small businesses or know a small business that is getting started here, we want to basically get word to the community of what they're doing. So we want them to come out. There is no charge for our vendors. We're not charging for that. We want to use this as a service for the community and for our small businesses. So that's what we have in our next meeting, November 13th at right here on Zoom. Now, my question is this as well, one of my last questions. When do you all want to go live so that we're in person? Does anybody have, or do we want to keep it at Zoom, or do we want to hybrid it?
I prefer a hybrid.
Go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I do all the computers.
This is Judy Taylor again.
Yes.
I really prefer the Zoom meetings and everything
Okay.
else too, but it required, that way everybody can be doing whatever they're doing and be in their own location. Dress how you want to be, not have to get ready to go somewhere and do all this kind of stuff too. So and plus be safer too. I think it's not time yet for us to get together. I really would rather keep it at a Zoom meeting.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I concur. Zoom or hybrid.
Okay, Zoom or hybrid, but what I believe is the new normal is going to be even when.
I've never done it on there, so I wouldn't know how to take,
Yeah, I believe the new normal is pretty much going to be whatever we do, there's going to have to be a Zoom component to it. So I think that's the new normal here. So any other parting questions for me or for any of the other folks that have spoken today? There being none, I want to thank everybody for coming on out. I want everybody to have a safe weekend this weekend and be positive. And I look forward to seeing everybody next month. And you do have numbers and email addresses. If you all have any concerns, please get in touch with me. We want to make sure that we can begin to try to accommodate those needs. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.